We now in our R&D and our roadmap are looking at the customer, your customers. What is the experience you want to give your customers? And work back on technology. You're all consumers. You all have a device here with you today with apps. You all consume a service or a product from whichever vendor that may be, finance, utility, etc. So as someone very well known in our industry, you've got to start with the customer experience and work backwards to the technology. How does your customers need to work with you, and how are you going to best serve them? Over 90% of global organizations, regardless of the vertical they operate in, regardless of the segment they may be, small, medium, or enterprise, the majority are in some form of DX. The original call center, as we all knew it, is now migrated into a contact center. And the contact being isn't purely just voice. You've got channels coming in, email, web chat, IM. You're on a digital journey already. How do you want to interact with your organizations as a consumer? How does the next generation, Jonathan referred to it, the data junkies, the millennials, my two teenage boys, the way they want to consume or interact will be different to me, be different to you, be different to our parents. Yet out of that 91% who are on the journey, way under half actually believe that what they're doing is right in terms of that ultimate preparation. Technology is changing every single day. The way we interact is changing every day. The emotion, empathy, and the effortlessness of our customers and consumers, Taz pointed out, is changing. So whereabouts are you on your digital journey to allow that effortless integration from your customers? It's confusing. Cloud, absolutely cloud consumption. Do you cloud consume your UC, your CC, your apps? Do you do a combination of CPE, on-prem, and cloud? And look at a hybrid model. What's best for you as a business? We talked about big data, and Taz referred to the numbers and not numbing, but numbers are important to understand your clients, their buying behaviors, their trends, their demographics. You've got it all coming through your systems, your CRMs, your PBX, your contact center. It's all data. Are you analyzing that? Do you actually understand the buying trends, the choices of your organization? That needs to be brought into effect. Mobile devices, it goes without saying. I think the UK's average now is 3.5, 4 devices per person. The US is over 6. We tend to follow. So whether that be on tablets, smart devices, phones, there are multiple devices, multiple platforms in which they run that need to be considered. Then you've got the social media. And there was the old, it took the TV and the radio, something like 40 or 50 years to reach 50 million people. A new app, it took just a couple of days, and that's decreasing every day. So you've got to keep up with where is all these apps in this social media. Facebook had just launched their new Facebook banking app. So you can now bank with your bank via Facebook if your bank wants to integrate. That's a huge. How do you do all the security coding? How do you allow that in? How do you allow your agents, that type of contact, that medium, that interaction, and what information do you flow? But that's been demanded. You've got to keep up. Throw in not only the macro trends that are happening, but you've then got to look at also the technology. Software defined, so software as a service. You've also got artificial intelligence, chatbot coming in. The Internet of Things, Web 2.0, the multiple apps, that omni-channel experience. What does omni-channel mean to you? What does it mean to me? What does it mean to the customer? Our consumers, or our customers, the ultimate customers, aren't bothered. They want an effortless process to interact with you as an organization. So where Avaya are coming from, in terms of all of the development, we put the customer at the center. And we work back on the product and the integration. Whether that customer be in an office, in mobile, at home, it's 24/7, any device, anywhere, anytime, any method. That is how the consumer wants to interact with you as an organization, and or you communicate back out to them. That is a huge amount to start incorporating into a business. It's a journey. It will not happen in one go. It's evolution. It will evolve. It will continue evolving. So we've developed that core portfolio now to ensure that we can help customers and consumers on that journey, around that contact center, that omni-channel experience, that UC. CX being the focus and the driver for digital change. You can see 81% of companies recognize CX as a competitive differentiator. Gartner put out a report only 2 years ago that the customer experience is the most loyal way forward. Businesses that don't adopt customer focus will not be in business in the next 3 to 5 years. Everyone agrees with it, everyone is focused on it, yet 13% actually only rate their actual customer experience as a 90%, a 9 out of 10. They recognize they've got a long way to go. Will everyone be a 10 out of 10? I'm not convinced. Technology trends, consumer requirements and preferences will forever evolve. It's an ever ongoing process. Taz touched on voice and the fact of communication. You look at some of the stats, even though you may be coming in through a web chat, you may have done an email, a web chat, you may have been on the internet. As and when things progress, they become more complex. Your consumers have a lack of understanding, a question or query. 62% still want to revert to a phone. So that underlying voice channel is critical, whether that be internal or external. 59% would like to see their agent when communicating. We've been doing a lot of work, for example, in the finance industry. When you were looking at loans or mortgages, you typically went down to your local branch, you went and met the mortgage advisor and you had a conversation. In the finance industry, real estate has been reduced. Less branches, more virtual. So we're setting up video pods or video access into your mortgage advisor. Still see them, still interact, may not be the human to human, be that element. There's an empathy, as Taz touched, it's effortless. But there is still that human contact. You can see 71%, they still want an app. They still want to be integrated via an app of their choice, and there's a huge amount of them coming out at the moment. We're working with organizations that are trying to bring in 9 different channels into their contact center at the moment, including voice. Next year, it'll be 11, and it will continue to grow. So not only is that the inbound, you've also got your own internal staff that you need to look at how they're going to cater for those, how they're going to be able to interact that multimedia stream. The last consideration is obviously the cost. We put up, you can see the third quartile, the upper quartile is where the costs are reduced. But unless you have an integrated approach, your cost per transaction will go up, another consideration. So we see we're working with a lot of our existing organizations and new that have a contact center, they've got voice. They've allowed email into their agents and or into their internal business. Then they believe they need web chat to keep up the competition. Okay, so we'll add web chat on, maybe from a different vendor, a different manufacturer. You then want to have other forms of social media coming in. The cost per transaction goes up. Not only are buying the kit, maintaining the kit, integrating the kit, but actually potentially the skill set of the individual that will be answering that, depending on their skill set or their individual or the department. Your cost goes up. The approach taken on the digital journey is critical. Start with the customer and work back on technology. Where are you? Where do you as an organization want to be? And it's a step-by-step approach. Keep the cost down, integrate a whole solution, and ensure that each step you take delivers a customer experience at the end of the day. We mentioned 9, moving to 11. 40% in the next 2 years will be with smart agents, chatbots, virtual assistants. We've done a number of works, again, in the finance industry. One of our largest banks in Dubai, at the Emirates MBD, every single office now has a virtual assistant, Eva, Emirates virtual assistant. She, he, it, takes most of the calls in the branches. You go in, you interact with Eva. Your conversation already is artificial intelligence, self-learning Eva. We're working with a number of organizations, again, different sizes, different verticals, public and private sector, on the adoption of artificial intelligence and integrating that into your core communication platform. How many of you use Siri, Alexa? Already we're having huge communication just in our private lives. Stats say that it will be more than your spouse. Whether that's true or not, that's arguable. But we're already using it. We're already in that artificial intelligence stage. We're already using devices to do more and more around our private lives. So why not have that as a consumer? Integrate that into your business, integrate that to your workflow, and allow your consumers into your business. Virtual reality. It's already here. You've seen all the Christmas adverts started. Again, my boys are 18 and 16. The new PS4's come out. It's got virtual reality glasses on it. The games are all there. PS4 already connected to the internet. They want you to be able to consume from that. We bought them in a basic format on the Avaya stand. Why not check out how your holiday destination is going to look by virtual reality prior to booking? At the moment, you go on the web, you look at photos, you may call a travel agency, you may discuss it with the agent in person, you may look through some standard videos. Do you really know what it's like? Do you really know that experience? Virtual reality. Go and see your holiday to ensure that it is exactly where you want, how you want it. The seats in an aeroplane. The house before you buy it. The car before you go and visit it. It's reality, it's here. At the moment, in most dealers, you can see a video of the car before you go and see it. You might even have the salesperson live on a video on their camera feeding back to you on your web and having a look at the car. Saves the organization time in showing you around a car you're not interested in. It saves your time in terms of the travel to go and see it. Augmented or virtual reality is here. It's being adopted by many organizations. Your customers, the next generation, will at some point demand it. How do you incorporate that into your business and make it reality? It's not one step. You don't go out and you buy a digital package and bring it into your organization. It doesn't necessarily exist. You've got to be able to look at all the connections that are here today and where your customers want to consume. You've also got to look at the context in which. What do you put out to an app versus how do you speak to someone versus what do you automate via a chatbot in a web chat? The context has to be relevant to the individual and where they're coming in their inquiry versus the device or the location they're in. At what time do you push that information out? At what time can you take inquiries? 24/7? Unlikely, depending on your vertical or your customer. Do you have the right resource? You're all familiar with skill-based routing. That's been adopted in the industry for many years. But it's beyond that. It's the knowledge base. It's the information you want, the medium they're coming in at, the location of your people. That's not strictly just contact centers. We're all virtual. You're all here today. You've got all your devices on the table, in your pockets. You're running your businesses. But you still want to consume at some point. Make an inquiry, online banking, whatever it may be. How do you now contact your bank? About what? And what happens when that inquiry doesn't answer your question? You'll want to call. You may have a web chat. You may have a chatbot already in the finance industry you interact with. At some point, you'll want an agent. Again, you've got to think about you as a consumer and how you want to interact and build those up. It's only when you go through each step that you know you've got the right experience for the customer. And the focus of Avaya moving forward is to make sure that A, we have the underlying UC platform to take those calls, integrate that with a contact center. But we don't offer all of that. We don't do virtual reality glasses. We don't do the web front end. We don't develop the apps per se on social media. All of our platforms now have been developed open API, open SDKs, third-party developers. We talk about Oceana and Breeze, our newer technology in there. Breeze is nothing more than an open middle layer. Anyone can develop on it. Jonathan and his team at Britannic are developing workflows, simple apps that you can buy today, put on a Breeze, and it will automate a lot of this transaction. The person comes in on this device at this time, it does a workflow, it's automated. It will end up at the right agent or at the right part of your business on the right device at the right time, but it's automated. It's open developer. You can develop on it. It's simple scripting, but it means you can integrate, augment with all of the third-party apps, many of which are here today with Britannic. Avaya does not do an end-to-end solution. It is part of a solution. It's open architecture. It allows you to go on that journey over a period of time that suits you or suits your customers. We look at proactive, we look at instant, we look at personal. You have to make it relevant. If you're not relevant to your customer, you won't be relevant. Just the same as if your service you want from your bank, your utility company, isn't right for you, you will switch. Control and choice is now at the end user. You're a consumer. You choose what device you're on at what time. What medium do you want to contact that's suitable to you? Before you go to work, whilst you're at work, over lunch break, when you get home, in front of the TV, over the weekend, check your bank balance, speak to an agent, make an inquiry on a car, whatever it may be, you're in control of what you do, when you do it, and how you do it. Your expectation as a consumer is the business you want to contact is ready to handle that inquiry via that device and via that medium. So the consumer now is in control. How do you start taking all of those different devices and mediums and integrating them back into a business flow so you can answer and deal? That is the DX and CX journey that started and we're on. So again, there is no hard text base. There's a huge amount that can be done automated via text devices. Chatbots as well, write them in. It's automated. They're simple requests, they're simple tasks. You can automate a lot of that today. Voice, we talked there, intonation, it's emotion. You can detect someone's emotion by their voice. Voice is still very key. Again, if you do video, and again, we don't develop it at Avaya, but we work with all the people. Facial recognition, emotion recognition. We did some work with the government of Dubai. Believe it or not, they've got facial recognition, but emotion detection in those cameras. And it's a happy index. You might have seen it in the press that Dubai wants a happy city. For any government worker that walks into the organisation, they gain access to the building via facial recognition, and it's emotive. If that person looks sad, stressed, down, a message is sent to their manager to go and meet them and cheer them up. We took, and genuinely, we actually took this and put it at GITEX, our show a couple of weeks ago. We take all of that real-time information. Banks are now doing it. Emirates, Macquarie Bank, Maastricht Bank, they're starting to write those in. So you can see the emotion of your customer automated. It doesn't take a human, it's automated. It's a flag. It's a way of being able to consume and make contact. We take all of that data and we can put it into blockchains. We don't develop blockchain, but it's out there. It's another disruptive technology. Another one that people will soon hear about, hash graphs. So it's taking the idea of blockchain and the Bitcoins and taking that into the private sector and hash graphing. It's all it is automation of data. We don't do it, we've got to integrate with it. But it's taking all of this source of information and making it there 24/7 and automated. And again, never forget, as we all know, the face-to-face. We're humans, we like the interaction. But how much of this can be done automated prior? So in summary, we're all happening on the digital journey. Make sure your customer is key. It's the CX thing and work backwards from there. Look at all the workflows to get to that right experience. Work back, plan it over a period of time and step by step. And that is what we at Avaya are working very hard, long time with Britannic, Jonathan and the team. That is a constant journey. But it needs to be mapped out, planned out, and there'll be multiple vendors involved in an ultimate customer experience. Make sure it's part of your strategy. Is marketing tied into that strategy? Your HR tied into that strategy? All of your processes tied into that strategy? It isn't one, it's the whole business transformation. And lastly, as I mentioned, Avaya, we work very closely with our partners. We work directly with our customers. We come out, we meet, we understand. But the level of integration, the level of deployment and maintenance is all done through our partner communities like Britannic. So my team are outside on the stand. Britannic team are here. Any questions or queries on where you are on that journey, where you may want to go, and the adoption of multiple technologies to achieve it, my team are here demoing some of it and giving you use cases of how we've already done it and the journeys that we're on. Thank you very much for your time.